I want to hear
Harlem
you.
is the epicenter of culture, for Black culture.
Absolutely.
Well, I know there's no better place in the world to do it. I mean, when you talk about comedy in its own, like you can't not mention Harlem. You got the Apollo Theater. You have so many
Yep.
people who walk through these streets, who walked up and down these streets. Red Fox, Richard Pryor, so many
Yeah.
different people that actually have groomed us as Black people that came through Harlem. So there's no other option. There's really no other option but Harlem.
You are now tapped into That's What I'm Saying, the Grown Folks podcast for hip hop, entertainment, dating, sex, relationships, and those social issues affecting our communities from a sometimes ratchet, because you know what me and my sister do, but mostly woke perspective. So I'm Sean.
And I'm Shatara. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? Hey. So today we have a special guest, very good friend of mine, very funny good friend of mine. We have today Mr. Jamie Roberts. Woo! Now, hold on. Before we start going, let me just give him the rundown. So Jamie Roberts is an actor. He is a comedian. He works for 99.7 WBLS. He is a father. He's a husband. And he is the club owner of Comedy in Harlem, which is my comedy home. He is an author of The Business of Comedy. Blah, 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 blah. I can go on and on and on. This is a man of many jobs. He got many jobs. Jamie Roberts.
Welcome, Jamie. Welcome, Jamie. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Jamie, thank you for being here. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So look, they're calling you the owner of the only Black-owned comedy club in New York City. How is this even possible in 2026 here?
That's what I said. You know what I mean? It's not just New York City, it's the tri-state area. So you have to go all the way down to Maryland till you find another Black-owned comedy club.
That's wild.
It is crazy.
Wow.
And, since we set the culture, you would think we would have more ownership of what we're doing, but it is what it is. Me and my wife, Nikki Sunshine, own the only Black-owned comedy club in New York called Comedy in Harlem. We've been running since 2021.
Wow. Wow.
And let me just throw this in. Nikki Sunshine is a hilarious, another sister in comedy. Yes. Him and his wife, 2 comedians.
Yes, I've seen her before. I remember.
So Jamie, who told you it wasn't going to work? I'm sure you had the naysayers. Look, we can call this we can call it, we ain't saying no names.
Yeah,
but
my wife told me it wasn't going to work when we first started. Because she wasn't part of the business when we first started. I had 2 other partners at the beginning. We was running like it was a clubhouse. So there was no real type of business structure to it. We started putting together shows, but when you start doing the P&Ls, you start realizing you're paying money just to have fun. And that's not what business is about. So there's a lot of people told me I was crazy when I said I was going to start a comedy club in Harlem. And then there was a lot of people who said, hey, I think that's a great idea because, you're based in Harlem. You have a following. Let's see what happens.
That's good. Now, did you have to deal with gatekeepers? I mean, are there gatekeepers in comedy? So were you up against them?
Yes and no. See, so
Okay.
like there were some gatekeepers, of course, in any industry, but myself, I kind of like blazed my own path, my own trail. Like I never really waited for someone to give me a handout. And I went on auditions. If I had it, I had it. If I didn't, I did it. But as far as someone actually trying to control my career, I never allowed anyone to have that control over me if I was going to succeed or not.
So with comedy, was there a moment in time where you're like, okay, this is something I love, but I can build a life around this comedy thing? When did you realize
that was a eureka moment? I was doing comedy. See, the thing about it is like, I went to school for business, right? And when you're doing comedy, you don't realize, it's show business. The other side of it is business, and when you're doing it, it's just for the love. You want to make people laugh. You're trying to escape something possibly, because comedy's therapy as well, right? And then when I started seeing people that I knew make money and was going on tours, I started asking real questions like, yo, how are you doing this? How's this possible? And then some people will give you the formula, some people won't. I was running a show downtown, not knowing I was supposed to be getting the entire door. So somebody was taking advantage of me from the jump.
So stop. Break it down. What does it mean when you say you're supposed to get the entire door? Break that.
So the entire door means everyone who pays a ticket price to get inside the club to see you perform. So if someone paid $20, you're supposed to get that $20 as a producer, as a person putting together the show, and that goes into your pocket. but I wasn't getting the whole $20. And you know who told me? My man Seymour Swan, good dude. Yeah, Seymour was like, "Yo, dude, keep your eyes on your door." And I was like, "Huh?" Told me and said, "This is when I was running down at New York Comedy Club. I used to host Latino Laughter. I was the only black guy to host or produce Latino Laughter. So I'm not black, I'm not Dominican, nothing, right? When I was running the show, I had other people, doing my door for me.
Right.
And he pulled me aside and was like, "Yo, dude, man, you got to watch your door. There's a lot of things happening you're not paying attention to." And I was very young in the game. I didn't understand what was going on until he schooled me on it.
Oh.
Put you the game.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
Like a
speaking
door
of
knocker.
yeah.
So Jamie, so everybody, I think every comedian has like their like broke comedian era. So can you tell us a little bit about yours? Like what was happening
Who you want to
behind the
interview?
scenes?
You want to interview my son's mother? Or who you want to? Because that's what happens.
When like I get
Oh,
paid in my passions.
so you want years? You want time stamps?
Like you want therapy bills? Shit,
Yeah,
what do you
yeah.
want?
You want past credit reports? What do you want? Because yeah, after some time you start living off of credit cards when you think you can really do this. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
there's some times where you're at a peak in your career, you believe, yeah, I could really do this full time. I could really do this full time. And then you realize you're a grown up with
Yeah.
real responsibilities. You have you got a house mortgage payment, you got
mhm.
a rent due, you got, for me, child support. You know what I mean? You got real things that are pending
Things. I
that,
got real things.
this $200 a show ain't gonna cover. You know what I mean? So there was a span, I think, for about 8 months I didn't have a full-time job. And I went to school for accounting. So I was an accountant for 17 years, and then I got into the radio business in 2014. Um, and it was about 8 months I didn't have a job. And those 8 months, I must have broke up with 8 different women because I couldn't support myself. I couldn't support.
Like this nigga think he funny.
Yeah, yeah. How many times we gonna go to the bar? You know what I
Ugh.
mean? I couldn't survive. So,
Oh my
it was
god.
bad. It was bad. So, I got a job. My brand manager at the time told me, "Hey, listen, I can't manage you full time anymore." Tanisha Tate, shout out to her. She said she was getting a job at the new radio station in New York City. So I'm like, there's no new radio station. And so her last job was to get me an interview at the radio station. That's what I said. All right, if you're gonna quit on me, give me an interview over there. So I literally interviewed for Street Team. I was in my 30s at the time. They was like, no. You know what I mean? I may have been in my 40s. Now I think about it, yeah, you're like, oh, no, 30s, definitely. And it was like,
Jamie's a true Benjamin Button over here.
right, right, right. And they brought me into sales. I met with the sales manager, told me, you have great charisma. I think you could do this, blah, blah, blah. You could work out. He sold me on the job. I had never done sales before. But then he told me, you're selling yourself every night when you do comedy. You're selling yourself. Right. I felt naked when he said that. But anyway, but it was true. It
Right.
was true. So
Yeah.
I've been doing radio sales since 2014. And
Shit.
it's yeah, it's been a ride. I went from account executive to sales manager to running a complete station to owning a station to now working for BLS and High 97, one of the two biggest stations in the world. You know?
Wow. So now that is a hell of a journey.
Yes.
On that journey, and I'm just gonna keep it with comedy. Was there ever a moment where you're like, I quit?
Nah, nah. On that journey, on the
All of
journey,
that.
the time I thought I was going to quit was when I was with my daughter's mom and she left me. And when you get left, I don't, women, y'all usually do the leaving. But when men get left,
It's good.
you're sitting in your own stew for like a day or two. You ain't got nothing.
Stankin'.
Yeah. People calling to make sure you're alive. You lost weight. You know what I mean? So you lost 40 pounds in 2 days. So it's like, you start to think like, is this really worth it? You know what I mean? Because I sacrificed a lot for comedy. I sacrificed my family. You go out every night, and if you come home with $100, they're like, you ain't doing nothing.
You ain't
You know what I
funny.
mean?
You ain't really funny.
Yeah, you ain't that funny. And so you start reconsidering your choices. Like, is this comedy thing really for me? Maybe I should just go back to doing the 99 to 5. And just hang it up. But as far as being funny is concerned, I always knew I was funny. I just didn't know how to really make money doing it.
Do it. So, because people think, comedy is just about jokes, but there's a part of the business, obviously, that people don't see. Talk about that.
Oh man, the jokes nowadays is half the battle. You know what I mean? You don't even have to be that funny because everyone's doing crowd work.
That part.
So they get on stage, they don't have any real material. Like I can do crowd work and intertwine my material in it, and you wouldn't even know this is what I wanted to talk about before I got on the stage, right? But some people just go up there, hey, where you from? Where you from? Where you from? Where you from? You know what I mean? And it's just
Ladies, give it up for yourselves.
yeah,
Y'all
give it up for
give
yourself.
yourselves.
Yeah,
Give
give
it
it
up
up.
for yourselves.
It's just like it's
Clap those
competitive,
damn
and those people usually don't get booked again. Um, but yeah, it's a different world. It really is a different world.
Do you think comedians can really make a living, or do you think like because right now we have social media and the internet, right? So can a comedian today really make a living without going viral?
Yeah, you could definitely make a living in comedy. It all depends on your level of comedy, first and foremost. I have friends who are doing, cruise ships. So that's good money. That's real good money. 3,000, 4,000 hours a week. And you're telling jokes on a cruise ship around the world.
Yeah.
You get to see the world. You probably get seasick after a while. You keep hitting the
Okay.
same ports and everything. But yeah, you can make a living off of that. There's different lanes of comedy. I think people get stuck in the stand-up form of it because
Mhm.
there's so many other avenues. Like you can do writing. Uh, you know, Comedy usually is a stepping stone to another career path within entertainment. So
Mhm.
I host a lot of events. Galas, community, a lot of stuff that I do that comedy
Mhm.
presented itself. Because of comedy, I should say.
Yeah.
Because of comedy.
It's
Um,
a
but
plug.
yeah, as far as comedians making a living, and it all depends on, some people's living expenses. Some people don't mind sleeping on someone else's couch. You know,
I mean,
some
but you know,
people don't mind 7 roommates.
but you know what? When you say that, like you laughing, but I feel like as a man, you could do that. I feel like as a woman in the business, I had to really have and get my shit together because, and I'm just telling you this, because men would always be the ones either renting a room, living with a female, not having a car, but they always had a way to utilize women who weren't about that shit. So it's like my lady's car, I'm living with my lady, men were able to really finesse the business. And I was like, well, I had to disappear for a little while. When you talk about like broke moments, I had to disappear for a while because I needed to get an apartment and I need to get my little hoopty together. I needed to, because I said I don't have peace of mind to come and crack jokes. So
Right.
I got to go get it together. And you know what comedians told me? You're not serious. You're not serious about this
Right.
business. And it was the same motherfucker renting a room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telling me, you
So
get what I'm
someone
saying?
someone told me I wasn't serious because I had a day job. Now, how crazy is that?
I keeps a job now. Hold
How
on now.
crazy is that? Like the thing about a quote unquote day job is that it's a job that pays me during the day.
Hello. And
Normally, it's
comedy is
paid me
what?
at night.
Hello.
So what are
Yeah.
you doing besides playing PS2 and watching Pornhub until 5, 6 o'clock? You know what I mean? What are you doing?
What do you do?
PS5, excuse me, PS5, and you know what I mean. But
Right.
the point of the matter is like I can't take advice from people who are broke. Like unless you're gonna show me how to do it yourself, you know what I mean, and you're making a living off of comedy, then I can't really listen to you. Your
Right.
advice is invaluable. It's a
Yeah.
trash. It's
Yeah.
invaluable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jamie, let's talk about ownership. So you own something that a lot of comedians they don't. So why do you think ownership is so rare for Black comedians in this space?
Wow, that's a good question. Responsibility. It takes a lot of responsibility. But we've had like, Chris Tucker had owned a comedy club in Atlanta, Earthquake owned a comedy club in Atlanta, J. Anthony Brown owned a comedy club in California. And so we've had black ownership. It,
Had,
we've
right?
had, right, Uptown Comedy Club with the Browns. Um, we've had black ownership amongst us. It just didn't sustain the time. Like,
Why? Why?
Understand it. Why?
well, because this is a full-time job. Like this is running a business.
Mhm.
This is not just gigging. Like a lot of comedians just want to show up, perform, and go. No one's there when I'm at the club 8 o'clock in the morning, sweeping the floors before a Zoom meeting at 9:30, mopping the floors and doing the bathroom at 5:30 before the showroom opens up at 7. You know what I mean? When you show up, it's already presented. Nikki's cleaning chicken at 12 p.m.
And then jumping on stage.
and then jumping on stage. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing the door literally inviting and checking people off as they come through the door. And then 8:10, they're playing the intro music for me to host the show.
Yep.
So like, there's a lot
Wearing many
that goes
hats.
into it, right? I wish I can, delegate some of that, but that comes with paying people as well. So
Mhm.
there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into running this business. It's not just jokes and people walking through the door.
Yo, you're Amon from Living
Yes,
Color.
yeah,
You got
Come on.
3 jobs, man. You
that's
lazy
the couch.
man.
I am West
I
Indian.
got 7 jobs.
I am West Indian, so that may be it as
Amon.
well. So, but yeah, as far as the reasoning why, it's a lot of responsibility, and you got to find a real support team who really wants to see you win. The beauty of my relationship, my marriage, is that we're both in the industry, so we get it. You know what I mean? When you're in in tune to each other's understanding of needs and wants, it kind of works out better. My
Mhm.
past relationships, they were not comedians, and they didn't really understand the game of comedy because there's a game to it. You know what I mean? You got to be in it to win it. You
Yeah.
can't hit a winning shot if you ain't on the court. You know what I mean? You can't catch a touchdown if you're not, suited up
Yeah.
on the field.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that will help a business strive, and it's hard work. We've looked at each other before, like, yo, this is the rap. I'm done with this, man. You know what I mean? Like, we should call this right now. You know,
Right.
but it's a lot
We're
because
done.
there's a lot of people depending on us.
Yeah.
That's the 1,000%. I tell my boys all the time, yo, if she'd have a white woman comes in here and takes me, this whole thing is a wrap. You know what I mean? Like,
Woo!
it's
And
going.
when he get on, he leave your ass for white girl. Jamie,
Right.
are you dropping hints on us here? Are you trying to go to
No,
the other way?
no,
Mhm.
not at all, not at all.
But Jamie has a black wife. Okay, come
Yeah,
on now.
I got a black degree too. I graduated from Hampton University, so they would revoke my
Oh, I know
degree.
that's right.
Yeah, they black. They black,
Look
black.
at the
They
black.
blacky
That's
black.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you think? I think I know the answer to this, but do you think black culture drives comedy?
Yes, of course, we set the standard across not just comedy, fashion, the world, how we talk, how we walk.
Mm-hmm.
The thing
But do
about
we own it though?
we don't, we
And
don't own
yeah.
it. We don't own it, and that's the problem.
So
That's
you know
the
how
problem.
you ever talk to other black comics, and it almost seems as though they feel like getting in front of white people is the key to success. Like white people are the puppet masters to
Uh,
getting over the hump.
Do you ever see when there's a white person in the crowd,
Let's talk about
black
it.
comedians get so excited? Oh, we got white people here.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
so
It's like,
excited.
like this is
What are
see
we
we're
doing?
different. We
Is it
different.
2026? No? Why
Oh
are
my
we so excited
gosh.
that white people still show up to our shows?
Yo,
Ah, we got some white people here. Why? Just
right.
do your jokes.
Oh my gosh.
But
Right.
yes, we don't own it. We do
But
not own
people believe that, or I say comics, black comics within our culture,
it.
they do believe that white folks are the gatekeepers. You got to get here, you got to get there.
Well,
And,
to a certain
you know,
extent, they are. To a certain extent, they are because they control certain networks that they want to get on. So if it's your dream to be on Netflix, you probably have to get in front of a white casting director.
mhm.
That's just plain and simple. If you want to get on BET, you probably have to get in front of a white casting director.
But then my question is, who's to say that their funny is even the epitome of what's funny? Like, who's to say that their funny is the standard of funny? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
Mhm.
if you've seen
That
some of the
part.
shows that have been casted, you'll see that
I've
their
seen
funny
it,
is not.
and I'd be like,
Yeah, how did this happen? Right.
no hate. Take
We'll
work to
bring
get
it
there. No hate.
right.
But I'm like, this is
Um,
what.
This is
Wow.
what if you any even if you look at because comedy is subjective first and foremost, but even if you look at some of the past specials and you look at the ones of today, they
Mhm.
don't even measure up. Like, there's so many great black comedians who don't get the opportunity to shine. And
Yes.
there's a lot of
Agreed.
gatekeeping that goes into that.
And just me personally, just being a person who loves comedy, we just have a different flavor, and not
Flavor, yeah.
everybody can get that. It's just the difference. We are the funniest. Black people are the funniest on the
Yep.
planet, hands down.
Mhm.
But I personally don't think we gatekeep enough. I don't think we do enough to keep it ours and keep it as legacy. I'm not saying not to share with anybody, but like why dilute it? Why make it palpable for other audiences that don't look like
Can't
us?
relate. They can't relate.
And yeah, I'm just
The
not
crossover
doing it.
is real. That's why. Crossover money's real, and
Well,
that's
you
what
know
it
what,
boils
Jamie?
down to.
Put it like this. What makes me uncomfortable is when I see a comic, one of our brothers and sisters, no need to say names because there's so many of them, and they're in a room of majority white folk. Let's say, forget diversity, majority white folk, and they run that N word like it ain't so, and that, you see how your eyes just got big, my sister, and I just kind of, even for me as a comic, I just feel a sense of I'm not comfortable and I'm disappointed, and I feel like, now why would you let them in like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're showing a level of comfort, I'm gonna give you that. It's on your vocabulary, fine. But look around. Why would you let you get what, so it's like a disappointment.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. Like, what's really happening here culturally? So
Right.
when you say, we're not gatekeepers, shit, to our own set sometime, we giving it away.
Indeed.
Anyway.
I don't like it. Okay, so let's talk about Harlem. So Harlem is Shatara and I. That's our home base. Our family is from Harlem. But why Harlem for you? Why not Midtown? Why not other traditional spaces
Harlem,
where comedy
Harlem,
clubs are?
Harlem
I mean, I
is
know the answer, but I
yeah,
want to hear from
Harlem is
you.
the epicenter of culture for Black culture,
Absolutely.
and I think, well, I know there's no better place in the world to do it. I mean, when you talk about comedy in its own, like you can't not mention Harlem. You got the Apollo Theater. You have so many
Yep.
people who walk through these streets, who walked up and down these streets. Red Fox, Richard Pryor, so many different
Bumpy
folks.
Johnson.
Yeah, well, Bumby, yeah.
Bumpy was out
So many
there.
different people that actually have groomed us as Black people
Hmm.
that came through Harlem.
Yes. The
So
cotton
there's
Yes.
no
cats.
other option. There's
Yeah.
really no other option but Harlem.
And that
I
stuff
grew
was
I,
heavy.
I grew up in Long Island, right? I'm not a Harlem guy. I grew up in Long Island, born in Brooklyn, grew up in Amityville, Long Island. But
Amityville.
We got to wait a minute now.
Get out the car.
don't do that.
Whenever I
Don't
hear
do that.
Amityville, I think of those windows from the Amityville Horror. Remember the little
Right,
barnyard windows?
right.
I can't look at a house without saying that's the Amityville Horror
No,
house.
cut it out, cut.
Oh no.
Yeah, so but that's what it is. Harlem is the epicenter, man. I mean, everyone. It's not even Harlem, New York. It's Harlem, USA. That's how they say it.
Yep. Absolutely. I think I was in I think Jordan one time, like out in the country, and it's like a group of people, but they had like Harlem. I was like, do you know that? And they had it on their t-shirts, like Harlem. Couldn't speak English, but knew about Harlem.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dope, dope, dope.
I think the wildest shit that I saw, I was in California, and I was in some mall, probably out near, I don't know, Beverly Hills, either way. And a white girl, lily blonde girl, she had on like a jacket, which was pretty fly. And it said like Lenox Ave,
Wow.
Harlem. And I was like, wait, what? And I was like, I really want to, I told my girlfriend, Darnie, I was like, I really want to ask her where she got that jacket from. Like, yeah. I really want to ask her. I really want to ask her, like, does she have any idea, like, who's she wearing? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, sometimes they just so happy to look like they in the culture. And I was like,
You
wow.
walk up and down these streets, they here. They are here.
Yeah. I heard I see it's a whole nother world than what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate it. I feel at home. That's my comedy club home of all the years I've been doing comedy. We
Mm-hmm.
already know. You know what I
That's
mean?
why we built it. We built it for someone like yourself to come home and feel comfortable. When you walk
Yeah.
through the doors. I think you were there the other night when I mentioned that. I said, we built this club because Black and brown comedians, we don't get a fair opportunity downtown like we should. Well, they're opening it up a little bit more now. But back in the days, it used to be nigga night. That's all you had was just,
That's what they called it. Yeah.
nigga night. It was 11 o'clock on a Friday night or midnight on a Saturday. And that's when we performed.
Yeah. That's
And
how they did us. And you couldn't keep your door. And you couldn't keep the door.
yeah, and if you
Right?
think about it, that's probably how some of us got diabetes. You drinking liquor at 11:30 at night and eating chicken
Mm.
at 1 a.m.
Happy to be on stage. Just happy to perform.
Right.
This
You know
is
what I
the
mean?
life.
How come we can't enjoy entertainment during normal hours?
Like, but that's how we got done. And
Right.
it's a very segregated business.
It is.
But, like you said, you created that space for comedians
Comedians.
that look like you and me. And I feel the love. I feel at home. I appreciate it. And things come full circle. So I always have to say, like, 135th and 5th, I always give the shout out to, my secondary home over here.
Right,
and
right.
that's super dope because, they look at me like, who's this bougie Jersey girl?
Yeah, Jersey is in the building, right? I had to bring them back.
Bring it on down to like,
Right.
I'm right here at home. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the sacrifice y'all make. This is a great part of my comedy career. It really is. You got more flowers? You want some more?
No. I'm good.
Yeah. So, I do have a question though, and I just want to be real. Do you think that there are comedians who are really funny, or are they just well connected? And we don't have to name names. So in other words,
we can name names if you want.
It's it's a trade off. There's definitely a trade off.
Look at you
get a
trying to
lot
be
of
diplomatic.
opportunities
I got
because
you.
people get opportunities not just because they're funny, but the network. You know what I mean? Like your network really gets you into places that funny probably wouldn't get you into places. And I'm not being politically correct. I'm just being 1,000% accurate. There's people out here that are not funny that have opportunities because of their network. You know?
Okay. There goes the answer right there.
Yeah, because
I feel like Netflix
that
is
something.
grabbing them all up. I'm just gonna say that.
What you say?
I feel like Netflix be grabbing all of them up.
Yeah, but that's
I'm
part of the
like,
game. That's part of the game. Before it was HBO, before it was
how?
MTV, before it was Comedy Central. And then Paramount, Viacom rather owns all. Comedy Central and MTV. But it's it's part of the game. Once you get in, you're in, and then you got to kiss everyone's ass to stay in. Can't piss anybody off. Can't go against the machine, and then you're out. And then when you're out, it's even harder for you to get back in unless you have your own fan base. So we're in a day and age right now that I don't believe we need networks to make us because we have all the tools in front of us. Look, we're on your platform right now, right?
True.
But you just have to be, what'd you say? True. You just got to be true to yourself.
Okay.
And once your fans figure out that's who you are, they'll rock with you. They'll run through a wall for you.
Yeah.
But it's you're building your own fan base, your own platform, and you'll be able to do anything you want.
Okay. Now, Jamie, have you ever had to blacklist somebody from the club?
People blacklisted right now. I put a couple niggas on punishment before. No, I hate
What
to
they
say it like
do?
that. I mean, like there's rules to this. You know what I mean? Like even before I even had the club, I had to put because I book a lot of shows. So if you cancel on me or you repeated it, you're a repeat offender. What is it? A habitual line stepper. You know what I mean?
A line stepper.
You just don't get the phone call anymore. You just don't get the text anymore. And you'll feel the pain. You know what I mean? You'll feel the understanding because hey, my phone is dry. Jamie ain't called me in a minute. Oh, it must be because blah 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 blah. And let them figure it out. I don't have to explain myself to you. You know what you're doing, what you have done, and what you continue to do.
Okay.
So yeah, I've blacklisted some folks.
The cancelers.
Yeah, well, not just cancelers. Energy. I move well off of energy. Some people can be funny as hell, but if their energy is ugly, that moves into your room. That gets into, you know what I mean? You watch Sinners?
Absolutely.
Did you see the movie Sinners?
Of course. Absolutely.
So
5 times,
you
maybe
remember
6.
the part of Sinners where it's like they can't come into your house unless you invite them.
Invite them in. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this bad energy can't come into your space unless you invite them in. So why would you invite them in? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about that even more and more because they exaggerated as well. Vampires and all these things that they're talking about inviting in, but it's real.
Got energy vampires.
It's exactly. It's real talk. It's energy, and it's the company you keep. Like the company you keep could either elevate you or destroy you.
Absolutely.
So why would you invite that into your normal circle of friends and family? I don't want that shit around me. Nah, I'm good.
You should get Michael B. Jordan to watch the door at Comedy.
What are 2 things? Is he going to be?
Well, that wouldn't have been no good because you let him in.
Which character is he going to be playing?
Right. Just one of them,
You don't want the werewolf there. You don't want that dude trying to invite people in.
We just want to play some music. You want to let us in? That's the white people coming. Hey, Jamie, we just want to come listen to some music. With Monifa. We want to do a little karaoke.
It was the girl that messed everything up, though. Do you know that, right? It was the white girl that messed everything up.
I know. It was her.
Oh, trust these white devils. I'm just playing. This is too much.
Well,
Well, it really did bring the devil.
Way to say.
Right.
Well, I'm like, moving on.
Moving on, right.
Because I can go on and on about sinners, so I got to stop right now.
Got you.
So who's winning today? Funniest comedians or the ones with the most followers?
These comedians still real.
You said the funniest comedians?
Funniest comedians will still rule. They still win. You know why? Because the most followers, that dies out. You get exposed. You get exposed quick.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happens, it's like, oh, we always knew this was going to happen. It's like, nah, you didn't. You need to see it for yourself. You know what I mean? You need to pay attention and understand why they're not funny. Understand why it's not working because they can't stop and edit.
Right.
So would you book somebody though that had,
We've
a
done it.
million followers,
We've
but
done
their
it.
jokes is whack?
It's not even that. We've done it, and the room was empty. So, and I tell people all the time, I'm in media, so I get it. You know what I mean? I know how to research to make sure these likes is real, these followers are real, these comments are real. I know the back algorithm. I know you could buy followers, you could buy likes, you could buy all that. You can boost your posts. I know that. That's what I do. I do that, right? But nothing translates more than when that person wants a show, you give them the show, and they give you all this back information. So 38% of my followers are from the New York City area, so I'm sure we can do 86. And then you 4 days out, you got 10 tickets sold. If that, what happened to your million followers, B?
Nikki will cancel your shop.
I will cancel the show.
Nikki will call you and be like, "We have sold 4 tickets.
Yeah, I'm
The
sorry.
show's in 3 days,
Sorry, it's not
and
happening.
we're not going to have the
We're not
staff here
gonna do
for
it.
it. It's
Yeah.
not realistic from
It's
the
not
business
realistic.
perspective."
So, the millions of followers and everything, it allows you to see people in real time. Well, not real time. It allows you to see people on your phone. And that's what people have been tricked into believing is comedy.
Yes.
It's comedic.
Yes.
It's not stand-up comedy, though.
It's the organic, like I tell people, I'm an organic stand-up comedian. I've worked on this craft. I know what it is to be on stage. Like if I can do an hour, it's because I worked at it.
Right.
Like the shit didn't happen overnight. However, you may not have a million. Come look at my page. I'm not a content creator. I don't have millions and millions of people. However, when you see me on that stage, there goes your content.
Right.
I'm live. I am live. But what I have, a TikToker may not have. You know what I'm saying? So you and I, we both done shows where it's like, this is Jimmy Neutron from the Bronx, or blah, 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 and he got a million gazillion followers. And he gets up there and he cannot carry the whole show. Like you said, there's no fast forward, there's no rewind, there's no edit, there's none of that.
Yeah.
He's
live.
funny.
Live entertainment.
And I've seen that. Like you try to see some of these TikTok comedians and it's like they don't transfer to the stage because they're used to their audience is behind a phone, is on a phone. So they're not seeing, first of all, you're not seeing anybody. Your content has to be less than 3 minutes. Otherwise it doesn't, the algorithm won't pick it up. So you're not used to seeing your audience and seeing their reactions and having enough content for something outside of 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Right.
So to me, it's a whole different, you could tell the difference, like, yeah, they're funny. I see the little clip. They're great on the skits are cool.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah.
But does it transfer to the stage? Not
All the time.
doesn't often.
But they're going to get a show, but they will get a night at whatever comedy club and they will have that 8:00 spot sold out.
Not necessarily though, because we've seen a pullback from that from other comedy clubs as well.
Oh yeah,
because, we've been burned.
Yeah, you see it.
You've been burned. You know what I mean? Like some of them have gotten smart and brought on other comedians on their show.
Yes.
Like you said, to help carry the show.
They have to. Yeah.
So it's not a total waste. But at the time, like those comedians have run their course.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get a little bit more hip to the BS. Like, oh, this is nonsense. Yeah, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. But I respect them. I will say this, because it takes work. Let me tell you something. It takes.
Wait a minute, you respect them for what? To
I
get on stage and do.
No. I respect your hustle in this new platform of what is considered comedy, right?
Okay, yeah.
You are a content creator, because I know on both ends, it still takes work. You know what I'm saying? So if you're using a part of your brain that, hey, listen, I used to put quarters in a payphone to call my mom and I had to memorize numbers. So there's a part of my brain that I use that they don't use. You dig what I'm saying here? All right,
You
cat
know what
daddy.
I'm
All right, job turkey. You know what I'm saying? Can you dig what I'm saying? So if they have, the ability to really put together clips all day, really, and feed the machine all day and edit and all that, that shit takes work too. I respect it. Because let me tell you something. It takes me 4 hours to get up 3 pictures. And you mean to tell me you did a whole fucking show and put it up? Okay. So, with that being said, do you feel like cancel culture is killing comedy or is it making comedy harder? What do you think about cancel culture? Because I
I
know.
think cancel culture is about a couple of people who shouldn't go to comedy clubs. You shouldn't be at a comedy show if you can't take
Oh.
jokes. I mean, like, don't come in
Mhm.
here with your judgmental ways. I mean, this is, we came so we can express ourselves freely.
Mhm.
Of course, I'm not talking about actually, cursing or putting down a specific race or culture of people or a specific type of person or people or tribe or religion, whatever you're trying to put out there. But
Right.
because I voiced my opinion and you don't agree with it, you shouldn't get a bunch of your friends to try to say, hey, don't let him talk anymore. Don't let her say those things anymore. It's still freedom
Right.
of speech, right? Is it not?
Right.
If it's not hate speech, then
Right.
let me speak we got we got the orange guy in the White House and he's spewing hate
Yeah,
speech, but
all
no one's
kind
trying
of
to cancel his
things.
culture.
Mm.
Right.
They call them
I was
Proud Boys.
watching the comedian Jeff Ross, the
Uh-huh.
white dude. He looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy boy to me.
Uh-huh.
But just as you were saying, I'm listening. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I was like, man, he's just some of the things he's saying. But in my mind, I'm
Yeah.
like, but he'll never get canceled. Like he could say all of that stuff, on Netflix, talking about you
Right.
and talking about everybody else. He could say that he's never going to get canceled. So I had to kind of check myself a little, like, you know what? I'm not offended, but but let me just calm down. Like if I could turn the channel, it's not for me. But I know there are people that take
Right.
that extra route, extra step. Like just don't go. Turn the channel. Don't go. It's not for you. But I
I
had to
was
kind
at,
of
I was at
comment.
Caroline's when Paul Mooney was there. Right, I went to go see Paul Mooney,
Oh
the
wow.
late great Paul Mooney, and
Absolutely.
some white folks got up and left because stuff he talks about
Because
is
he
very
talked about them
controversial.
crackers. He was
Right,
talking,
and
yep.
he said, "Give him a round of applause. These crackers paid to hear me talk like this." Get paid to hear me talk like this and watch him leave now. Oh, it was hilarious, man. But it's the truth. You knew what the hell you was walking into. Unless you got sold a ticket on the street, you had no idea who Paul Mooney was. Well, shame on you. You should
Right.
have did your
Absolutely.
research.
Right.
Absolutely.
Black
So
folks get away with it.
there you get it right, right. So Jamie, so in 10 years, what do you want people to say about Harlem Comedy Club?
Comedy in Harlem.
Comedy in
Um,
Harlem.
yeah, first 10 years, I want to make sure they get the name right. So,
Absolutely. That's on me.
uh, I
And then
want them to say that we helped like create the next big star in comedy. Like we were like the gym that they used to come to work out to actually get better so we can say, hey, that person we helped that person was on our stage at least 3 times a month, at least, 2 times a week, whatever it is, and they call comedy Harlem home. Cause there's a lot of, old stories about Eddie Murphy at the comic strip, where he was always doing, late night spot. And then he went and got successful. He came back and got Chris Rock. You know what I mean? He brought him there. So I would love a story like that to be birthed from comedy in Harlem, you
Hmm.
know? And
Hmm.
I'm sure we're on the we're on the tip of having it happen because
Yes.
we see the talent.
Hmm?
We see the talent that walks through our doors, and it's just a matter of us making it happen. It's us supporting us.
Us supporting us. Because comedy in Harlem is a standard at this point. If you're a black comic and you don't
Say
see
it.
comedy in Harlem as your home, you're low corny. I don't care.
Listen,
I don't
listen.
care. I don't
You
care.
you can say that, but there's a lot of black comedians who don't want to come up to
I
comedy in
get that.
Harlem.
And you want to wait, we're gonna get to that, right? So there's
Uh-huh.
that part, right? But so if you say to me like, oh yeah, comedy in Harlem's open. I haven't been there. I'll be like, so like, so why not? That's number one. Right? We could say that. And then also it's so for the culture. Being in Harlem is so for the culture. So if we can say that we've lived through a time where, we see the segregation in comedy, we know about being passed and the politics and the bullshit. This spot is a place where not only are we brown people, but it's really about the funny and it's really about helping each other out. So if you want to get funny, I promise you, Jamie and Nikki will open the door for you to do that if you're about your business. They're not turning you away. They don't have the politics that, other comedy clubs have, right?
Correct.
And I can honestly say that is a great investment in the culture. And for that, y'all make a great investment, like for real, for real, for real. Like that's a great thing. So you have comedians that come from all over the world, especially being Black. Like you just had Chris Spencer, and you name them, they coming through. If they're coming to New York, they're like, I got to make it to Comedy in Harlem. It is the place to say you went to.
Right. And someone told me that, like, he didn't even want to perform. He just said, I just wanted to come in and see the stage because he came during the open mic night, which is Mondays. And he said, I just wanted to come see the stage. I'm leaving tomorrow. They taking pictures in front of the mural out front. You know what I mean? Because it's become somewhat of a destination for folks to come and see. Um, but when you get on that stage, you gotta deliver. That's what it boils down to. You gotta deliver. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but they touch the stage, and that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dopeness, dope.
So how would you tell a comedian at this point of the game and business? How would you say, what's the first step to getting started if you want to be a stand-up comedian? What advice do you give?
Yeah, get on stage. Get on
Just
stage.
do it.
If you
Do
got, if,
it. Do
yeah,
it.
you gotta do it. There's a lot of people say, I want to write, I want to do this. Okay, that's great. You're a writer. You're not a comedian. You know what I mean? You're not a stand-up comedian. You're a writer. We have a lot of people who do write who've never touched the stage before, and that's their job. They write jokes,
Right.
right? But if you want to do this, you want to be a stand-up comedian, you have to get on stage.
Yeah.
If you want to be a consistent stand-up comedian, you have to consistently get on stage.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get better at doing stand-up comedy, you have to constantly be on stage and constantly in front of different people, not just Black people, different people, to find out if you're universally funny. Because, there's chitlins and Kool-Aid jokes, but you got to be hilariously funny no matter where you go. And I learned that the hard way, doing shows downtown for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to run a show called Sunday Night Live for 10 years, every Sunday. It was at a majority white comedy club, right? A white audience. It was a room full of tourists every Sunday.
It was a good time. It was
It was a great time.
Good time.
It was a great time. And the lineups were diverse as you can think. And I made sure I did that because I wanted to show people that funny comes in every color, shape, and form. As long as you're funny. That was my only prerequisite. Two things. Gotta be funny and don't disrespect the crowd. Don't disrespect the crowd. Because usually when it goes bad for comedians, they turn on the audience. And they start getting into hey, they paid for you to be funny, dude. You know what I mean? It's not our fault that you're not funny.
Right. Oh,
Why are you taking it out on us? And now the light goes on immediately. Click. As soon as I see it happening, blah, put on that red light. You got to go. I'm sorry. I'll pay you money to leave. I will pay you to leave. That's what I will do because you're not going to, it's bad energy. It just starts, it ripples the ripple effect. It just starts happening.
The Joe Jackson of comedy over here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Go. You got to tell the jokes like I told you, anime. But anyway. That was Ike. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right?
That was good advice. That was good advice. Yeah, it was.
Right.
Thank you. Now I can't wait to get on stage. Scared me. Scared me before I could start. Shit.
Right.
Be funny. Just be funny.
Yeah.
Shit.
What I used to tell people all the time is just have fun. What do you want me to do? Yo, just have fun. Because when you're having fun on stage, the crowd can see, the audience can see you having fun. They want to laugh with you. You know what I mean? They want to have a good time with you.
Yeah.
That's the best part of a show to me is when the comedian is laughing at their own jokes. And you want to be a part of it. Right?
Sometimes they laughing at their own jokes because ain't nobody else laughing at their own.
Is that part too? Right? Yep.
They slap the mic on their knee. They do all types of tricks. All types. Ha ha. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Cheating.
And sometimes comedians say it out loud. Fuck that. To me, it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny to me when I wrote it. Right.
Yeah. I gotta work on that. I gotta work
on that. All right.
Yeah. It takes work, but you gotta try it out sometimes.
Yes, it's true.
I think we're gonna get into some rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Okay. Called a rapid fire.
Fuck. All right, go ahead, sister. Hit it off.
This is gonna be you.
All right, Jamie. Authentic, quick.
Okay.
We can do name dropping if you want.
Oh Lord, you want me to drop names all the time?
Ready? And boom. Funniest comedian alive.
Wow. Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Most overrated comedian.
Most overrated comedian of all time was Dane Cook. Real talk.
All right. New York versus LA comedy scene.
New York all day. All day.
Okay. Hecklers, kick them out or roast them?
Sober hecklers, roast them. Drunk hecklers, kick them out.
Wait, say it again.
Sober hecklers roast them. Drunk hecklers kick them out. Because you can't argue with someone who's drunk. They're not going to know when to shut up.
Good one.
Okay.
Good point.
Okay. See, because
Okay.
Jamie thought about the door.
Business.
Because he
Yeah, it's
keeps
a
the
business.
door.
It's a business.
He's like, now, hold on now.
I'm a businessman.
Yeah, he's like, I kick him out. He was like, now, wait a minute, 22 twos. Wait a minute now.
Exactly.
I saw you thinking on that business level. Wait a minute. Okay, so he said, I'm keeping all of the money.
All that's the money.
Because if you're drunk, that means that you bought drinks.
You bought drinks. Sometimes you come in there drunk. And so, we got to be careful with that too. But yeah.
Wait, really quick. You said the other night that y'all found a pint in the mattress.
Ray nephew. Yeah, people be
Really
sneaking like that.
I thought you were joking. I had to ask
No.
you. Real?
What, did somebody steal it?
No, they snuck it in. They snuck in liquor we don't even serve.
Cool. Well,
yes. Thank you, Jamie. This was good.
That's
I appreciate
All right, so we close out. All right, y'all. So if you've enjoyed this episode, do us a favor, like it, comment, share it with a friend, and subscribe. That's how we grow this show, and it keeps our community strong. And make sure you're following us on Instagram at TWISPOD. That's where the conversation continues. And Shatara, what we want to let them know?
Yes, y'all. And listen up, y'all. If you got a question for the Weekend D Report, you want to send shout outs, or you're looking for merch or anything TWISPOD, just head over to linktr.ee/TWISPOD. Everything is right there.
And if you want to watch us on YouTube, which you should, or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, we're on all major platforms.
Yes. And if you want to keep up with my comedy shows, podcast appearances, and TV events, as always, you can go to my website, which is shataraCurry.com.
Anyway, thank y'all for listening, rocking with us, and spreading the word.
Yes. Thank you again, Jamie. Until next time. You got to get out to comedy in Harlem, y'all. Check out my boy Jamie.
Absolutely.
Yes. Stay healthy, stay well. Peace.